Today we are going to discuss about the living organisms and their existence on the earth. Generally, what is biology? If I suppose to ask you people a question, what is biology? You may say that biology is the study of living organisms. Biology is the study of living organisms. So what are living organisms? We all know what are living organisms. The living organisms are those which are present in our surroundings like plants and animals. So this is the answer for a layman. This is the answer for a layman. If I suppose to ask what is a living organism, we can say plant or animal. It is an answer by a layman. Why? Because the answer given by layman is just by its external characters or appearance which is present in our surroundings. And if I suppose to ask a biology student, or if I suppose to ask a student who is well known about the difference between the plants and animals, he can say what is living and what is non-living. So let us see how the living organisms are existing in this wonderful biosphere. So let us see. Our topic is the botany first year's topic, in which today I am going to deal with chapter 1, that is nothing but the living world. The living world. The living world is a combination of organisms like plants and animals. Already told you know, but such living world which is a combination of plants and animals is showing some defining properties. That is, we see what is living. What is living? A living organism can have some defining properties or some features or some specific characters when compared to non-living. We all know that what is non-living and what is living. So living organism which is a definite or which is defining with a particular property, that is what is defining property of living. If I suppose to ask, we can conclude that there are some characteristic features of living organisms. They are growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, consciousness. So these are the five features of living organisms. These five features describe the living organism and its criteria of this entire living world. For example, let us see the first feature of the living organism is growth. Living organism is growth. What is growth? Growth is particular to only living organisms like plants as well as animals. So growth is nothing but increase in mass and increase in the number of cells in an individual organism. So thereby increase in the mass and increase in the number of cells of an organism increases the size of the organism. Let us see here. Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. So this growth can increase the mass of an organism, and this growth can increase the number of cells in a particular tissue, and this growth can increase the number of organ and its related complex tissues. Thereby it increases the mass of that individual organism, and ultimately an increase in the number of individuals. See here, an increase in the number of individuals is also a growth. These individuals is different when compared to the unicellular organisms as well as multicellular organisms. Let us see here. A multicellular organism grows by cell division. We all know that we are multicellular organisms. Human beings are multicellular organisms. Plants are multicellular organisms. So we grow by means of cell division. We grow from our mother womb from one cell, single cell, that is a zygote. So zygote develops into an infant develops into an individual infant child, and the child gradually grows. Let us see here. In plants also we can see the growth. In plant, this growth by cell division occurs throughout the life. And in our body, the cell division does not occur throughout the life. Why? Our growth is limited. Our growth is limited. See this, growth can take place in indeterminate or determinate manner. What does it mean? Determinate means limited growth. Determinate means limited growth. In human beings, we have a particular limited growth. It depends upon races, or it depends upon the geographical factors, or it depends upon an individual region, so that their height or their growth or their color or their depend upon their race only, their growth growth depends, but our growth is not a continuous process. Our growth is not a continuous process, but in plants, the growth takes place in a continuous manner. See here, in plants, this growth by cell division occurs continuous throughout the life. Whereas in our body, the growth is not continuous throughout the life, but growth takes place in animals at a particular time where there is a need or necessary for the cells to replace. For example, we injure, or for example, we are subjected to any incidents, cuts or injuries or wounds. In such cases, the cells divide and replace the damaged cells. So, in animals, the cell division does not occur throughout the life. It is depend upon the age factor and the species and their relative growth. For example, I will give an example. There were dinosaurs in Mesozoic era. What is the size of the dinosaurs? They were huge, giant in their size. And what is the size of nowadays lizards or nowadays reptiles? They are very little or tiny when compared to those dinosaurs. Is there any large animal like that nowadays existing? It depends upon the time, the era and the time or span where these living organisms divide and redivide and increase their number of cells in this nature. Let us see here, in animals this growth is seen only up to certain age. In animals, this growth takes place only up to certain age. So, the age factor is one of the determinant factor in animals depending upon the age. Each and every organism has its own lifespan. Every organism has its own lifespan, and such lifespan is nothing but certain age. In animals, this growth is seen only up to certain age. We have our own lifespan, and cow has his lifespan, and horse has his own lifespan, and different animals have their own lifespan. So up to that particular age only they will grow, and after that they never grow. So this is one of the factor or the future or defining property of the living organism, that is nothing but growth. And I can differentiate these 5 factors of these living organisms into 2 major properties. That is, this growth and reproduction are known as non-defining properties. These are known as non-defining properties of living organisms. Whereas metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness are known as defining properties of living organisms. These are known as defining properties of the living organisms. How? So what is the criteria that growth and reproduction is coming under non-defining property, and metabolism, cellular organization, consciousness are coming under defining properties? If there is no exception to that particular feature or property, we can say them as defining properties. If there is an exception to the property like growth and reproduction, we can say that is as a non-defining property. For example, let us see. Here, growth is of 2 types. One is intrinsic growth and another one is extrinsic growth. For example, a cell is there. A cell want to divide, it has to increase its size and then it has to divide into 2 new cells. So whenever a cell increases its size and divide into 2 new cells, such 2 new cells exist as the new, and any tissue can be formed or they can continue in a particular organ. So here the growth of the first cell, what is there? This is the first cell in which it enlarges in its size first and after that it divides. So this is called internal growth. Internal growth of the cell. The cell before going to divide, the size of the cell was very small. No? Gradually the cell size increases and that cell divides into 2 equal cells. This growth where the internal increase in the growth of the small cell into a large cell to divide and give 2 new cells is nothing but we call it as intrinsic growth. What is extrinsic growth? Extrinsic growth is one where a cell which is dividing has to accumulate some food materials in its outer layer, where the cell wall and its layer increases in its size. So this is nothing but the accumulation. This is nothing but the accumulation of materials externally. The accumulation of the material. What are those materials? The materials required for the cell and its growth. But those materials which are required by the cell growth externally, like cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, suberin, chitin, like that. So such accumulation of materials outside the cell is nothing but the extrinsic growth. We call this as extrinsic growth. But this extrinsic growth is not only the defining property of the living organisms. Why? Extrinsic growth, I already told you that. What is the definition? Accumulation of materials outside the cell. So when the cell is accumulated by certain cell growth materials outside the cell, we call it as extrinsic growth. Such extrinsic growth can be found in non-living organisms also. Non-living, I mean non-living component, not organism, non-living components also. In these non-living components, for example, lava flows from the vent of the magma, and this lava accumulates around the surface of the mountains. And another thing is, at the surface of the mountains, fog, or we call it as icebergs, accumulate on its surface. The accumulation of the ice or fog on the surface of the mountain, or the outflow of the magma from the volcanic eruptions also accumulate, and they form a layer on the surface of the mountains. It is also an extrinsic growth. So in non-living organisms also we can find extrinsic growth. So here I want to say that growth is of two types in living organisms, no matter. That is intrinsic, where a small cell increases its size and divides into two cells. Whereas in extrinsic growth, the materials accumulate on the cell and it divides. But in non-living organisms or in non-living components, we can say ice as well as volcanic eruptions. We call it as volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions also we can find this type of extrinsic growth. So that is why the growth can be found in living organisms as well as in non-living components. Hence, we call this growth is not a specific character for living organisms. Hence, we are making it or classifying it into a non-defining character. So like that, the reproduction is also one of the defining property of the living organisms or not. Let us see in the next class.